Place the mannequin on top of the computer boxes. Keep it 1 foot away from anything metal so that there's not magnetic interference. Cable from the mannequin in here. Cable from the transducer in here, and secure.
So I'm going to turn on the computer by pushing the power button on the left side of the all-in-one, and it will start up. This is rebooting in a Fedora Linux operating system. So this will take a few seconds. To begin, log into the guest account with the password that you find under your course instructions. Now turn on the tracking device with the power button at the back. The red light in the front will flash and then turn green. Double-click on the icon Run Focus to start the simulator. Then select Execute in Terminal. Now enter your personal account and password. Account is your first name and last initial, and your password is your first initial and last name. You will see your account name on the top of the screen. There's a navigation pane on the left which guides you through the course, but use the description in the user manual so you know which sections you are to complete. For the standard curriculum, do the pre-test and then practice scanning cases 1, 5 through 8, and 10, and then test cases 3 through 5. There is additional material on the simulator that you can do at your leisure if you wish. So we start with the pre-test, and as I click on each section, you get instructions and questions. So answer the question by clicking on the box for the answer you think is correct. And then you hit the submit button to send your answer in. Proceed through the 3 questions and then go to scanning the mannequin. Again, specific instructions will be provided as you go through. So the first step is to acquire apical and parasternal views. After reading the instructions, you go to the next step, which is to load the images into the simulator. When you click on Load Images, you have to wait a few seconds for the large data set to be loaded into memory. The first time you start up the simulator in a session, you have to tell the computer where the mannequin is located. And to do that, you place the lock transducer over point number 1 and hit the space bar and Then point number 2, hit the space bar, point number 3. It doesn't make any difference which way you turn the probe, but do not angle it. Make sure the face is flat against the mannequin. After registration, imaging will be live. A cardiologist usually scans the patient with the left hand, and they're seated or standing at the left side of the patient. However, you can also scan the patient from the right side using the right hand. And let me just show you for both. The procedure for acquiring an image is the same. When you have an image that you think is optimal for the view, put the mouse over the acquire button and click. You will see a pause, and a blue sector will appear in the torso to tell you that the image has been saved. You can then proceed through the list of views and go to the next one, and again optimize your view and acquire. And you'll see a list of case studies. Again, please refer to your course outline, which tells you which of these cases you should do. Again, to open a case, click on that study number where you see a little information about the patient's history. Then click on Load Images. We have already loaded the image for this case. Now in practice, you can see where your plane is cutting through the anatomy of the heart. You can also zoom to get a close-up of the anatomy. In this reconstruction, the left heart is in red, and you see the atrium and the ventricle. The blue is the right heart, right atrium and right ventricle. If you're not sure what the view should look like, for example, for a parasternal long axis, click on the button that says Show 2D Image, and it will display the optimal image that you can obtain for that particular patient. As you scan, you can show the 2D image of the optimal view that you can get for each case. If you have trouble, you can say show the correct view. And now if you superimpose your plane on the correct view, that helps you to get the best view in the large window. When you acquire the image, you will see the optimal image played on the left and the one you acquired on the right. You also get an angle deviation between the two. In this case, I was only off by 10 degrees because I was looking at the correct view. You proceed through one view at a time. I'm going to step through this quickly now so we can get to the next stage. The apical data set is a different one, so it takes a few seconds to display, but again, the same technology here. And there we are at the subcostal. And you can acquire multiple times. Let me acquire a second one. You can see both of the acquisitions as blue planes. You can hide the correct one and see how much you vary. You can also delete. It will back delete in the order that it was acquired. Not all the cases have a visible inferior vena cava, but when there is a good view, you will see that view listed on the navigation pane. I'm going to acquire it a second time so you see how to handle this in the next step. We are going to go to the review of acquired views, and this allows you to look at each of them and see if you like it. If you don't like what you acquired, you can return and acquire an additional one. In this case, I have two cine loops. I'm going to decide that the first one is better and click the green arrow underneath. In test mode, the one you click is the one you get graded on. You must select a single best cine loop to go ahead to the next step, which is image interpretation. At this point, you can look at any of the images that you acquired. The ones that were selected as optimal are presented in green. You then answer questions about the findings on this particular study. After you hit the submit button, two things happen. One, you are told whether you selected the correct answer, and if not, what you should have selected. Under discussion in the middle panel, there is a brief amount of information on the diagnosis. The second thing you can see now is all of the images that you acquired on the right side and the corresponding optimal view on the left side. If you click on any of these thumbnails, you will bring up again the dual display together with the angular deviation, which shows you how close you were to the correct view. So after you've gone through the practice curriculum, then you can take the test and open the cases that are listed in your course manual. And on the left navigation panel, click under Test to see those cases. When you click one, you'll see the same kind of interface where you have to load the images and acquire the images, review them, and answer image interpretation questions, just as you did before. However, during test, you do not get any feedback while you're acquiring images. You will only get feedback on how well you did after you answer the image interpretation questions and submit your answers. Okay. When you're done with the session, then log out of the simulator and hit the little X. At this point, you should power down the electronics box of the tracking system. Then go to the little F on the left corner, log out, and then if someone else is coming, you can just log out. However, if the simulator is done for the day, then you should shut down.
Right.